We are Joel and Kate Morris, and this is our adoption story. Brooklyn on the left is 6 years old, and we were able to adopt her from Atlanta, Georgia. The middle two are Aubrey and Tyler. Aubrey is 4 years old and Tyler is 3 years old. We were able to adopt them through foster care. To my right is Henry. Henry, we got through private adoption in Arizona, and Henry is 8 months old.
We moved to Louisville the summer of 2010, and I think I had been invited to my 9th baby shower and was coming out of Target, trying not to cry and lose it in the middle of the store. I was convinced that every person in Target was pregnant, and got in the car, and literally it was 2 miles away. I couldn't make it home. So I pulled over and I just told the Lord, I need to talk to you. And I just stopped and I just cried out to him and said, I feel bitter. I feel hurt. I feel broken. I feel forgotten. And right in that moment, he just reminded me of his word. And do I believe that his word is true? And his word tells me that he knows the number of hairs on my head, and his thought towards me is precious. They outnumber the grains of sand. And do I believe that? But I just told him at that point, I'm just going to put a stake in the ground, and I wanted to just be a vessel. And no matter if that meant giving me children or not, that I was just gonna trust and follow him. A few months later, it was literally Easter Sunday, and we were handed a form. And the very last little blank that we were supposed to fill out was just a dream that you had. And it was so strange. I was trying to get pregnant, but what I put in the space was to be a mom. We get home, we have a little Easter meal, and literally 3 hours later, we get this out of the blue call from Joel's sister that there is a 25-weeker in the NICU weighing 1.5 pounds available for adoption. And I'm sorry, I still, after 6.5 years, cannot believe what the Lord has done. My cup overflowed so much that I was saying, God, just stop loving me so much. I don't deserve this. I can't even contain it all. To know that from the time of my bitterness and 4 years of questioning him, that he had this planned out perfectly and beautifully in a way that only he could take credit for, and that he selected us to be able to take part in his plan was just more than I could hold. So you'd think after 2 years of that, I would just have complete confidence and trust that he knew what he was doing and I could trust the Lord. And we were doing fertility treatments. It just wasn't working. And so Joel was just like, I really have a heart and I really want to kind of consider foster care. And I was terrified. The whole time I was like, Lord, I do not want to do this. I don't have any emotions about this. I'm not excited. I don't have compassion for these kids. I still want what I want. I still want to have a child. I'm still feeling like you're going to allow that. We found a doctor that was doing free treatments. I just thought that's from the Lord. And our very last 30-hour class, the Lord I was being convicted that I was fighting him and his plan. And I had put that stake in the ground 2 years ago, saying that I wanted to be a vessel no matter what it looked like. And here I am obeying, but my heart wasn't there. And so it slowly came around, and the first call we got and the first baby we brought home, I was all in. I had started a Bible study called Entrusted with a Child's Heart. Here I'm thinking, great, I'm going to show up with this foster care baby and everybody's going to be so excited about this ministry. And the next week I showed up with no baby. She was reunited and I was crushed. I was sitting down on the couch and just praying over this child, and it was like the Lord kept saying, entrusted. That doesn't mean given. That doesn't mean to keep. That means that I'm entrusting you for as little or as long as I see fit, and you to put that stake in the ground that you're going to trust me. So I'm crying and saying, okay, Lord, I trust you. I don't understand, and I don't like this. And I don't like the circumstances in which she's going, but I'm going to trust you. We heard an acronym called BOW. And the B stood for believing that God is sovereign. And then the O standing for obeying. So in order to obey, we have to believe that he's in control. It's not necessarily about our feelings or emotions, but it's about that faith. Walking it out is the W, walking it out in worship to him, and just realizing that our lives are not for ourselves. My heart was never inclined to any of these things, but now he's using it as a way to bring glory to himself and to share the gospel.
Adoption is a beautiful representation of the gospel. As God chooses us and adopts us, in the same way we've been able to adopt 4 children and teach them the gospel, to pray with them and pray over them. Kate and I in the past 6.5 years have had 13 different children in our home. Ephesians 2:10, where God clearly talks about how he's given us good works. He's given each of you different skills to build his kingdom. And I would encourage you guys to get out of your comfort zone. In some cases, it's been a tough journey. It's oftentimes been very messy for us. Over this adoption journey, there's been many difficulties. There's been so many trials and tears and also great joy, but you can see God's sovereign hand through all of it. We should not get the glory for anything that we've done. God has been sovereign through the whole thing. To God be the glory, great things he has done.